Well, Tucker Carlson, who has been doing the PR for Iran and the Islamic world for the last few months or so, looks like he may have gone just too far this time, and maybe way too far this time. I'm going to play this for you in just a moment. And I mean, Tucker Carlson here, he's like, remember Baghdad Bob? Baghdad Bob, or maybe he's the Karine Jean-Pierre of Iran. He's talking about the president's post to X about Iran on Easter in this clip. If you're new, my name's Brian. This is where MAGA comes to talk. Make sure you subscribe. Okay, so here's what Tucker said on his program yesterday.
Who do you think you are?
Oh, by the way, he's talking to Trump. So when he says, who do you think you are? He's talking to the president.
Who do you think you are? You're tweeting out the F word on Easter morning? You'll be living in hell. Just watch. Praise be to Allah. So obviously you're mocking the religion of Iran. Okay. If you seek a religious war, that's a good idea. But by the way, no decent person mocks other people's religions. You may have a problem with the theology. Presumably you do if it's not your religion, and you can explain what that is. But to mock other people's faith is to mock the idea of faith itself. And we should never mock that, because at its core is the acknowledgement that we are not in charge of the universe. We did not build it. We won't be here at the end of it. We can destroy life. We cannot create it because we are not God. The message of all faith at the biggest picture level is the message in our Bible, which is you are not God. And only if you think you are do you talk this way. But it's not just mockery of Islam. And no president should mock Islam. That's not your job. This is not a theocracy. We don't go to war with other theocracies to find out which theocracy is more effective. We are not a theocracy. And God willing, we never will be, because theocracies corrupt the religion. No, this is a mockery not just of Islam, it's a mockery of Christianity. To send out a tweet with the F word on Easter morning promising the murder of civilians and then saying praise be to Allah without explaining any of it, you are mocking me and every other Christian because we're Christians. We can't support that. That is evil. That is an intentional desecration of beauty and truth, which is the definition of evil.
Beauty and is he talking about Islam when he's talking about beauty and truth? Yeah, Tucker gone crazy. I mean, now is he defending Islam here? Is he defending Iran? What's he doing? What's he doing? Yeah, I mean, this is. I hope they're paying him well. He is like top trending on X over this. I mean, he has really lost his freaking mind. There's no question about it. He has lost his mind. No, has he lost his mind, or is he sold out? What do you think? Sold out or crazy? Sold out or crazy? What do you guys think? What do you guys think? Has Tucker sold out, or is he crazy? No, got to pick one. Sold out or crazy? It can't be both. Got to be one or the other. Sold out or crazy? Most people are saying sold out. Yeah, sold out. Crazy, sold out. Most people are saying sold out. A little crazy, but I think it's more sold out. I'm going to lean towards sold out. By the way, my name is Brian. If you're new, this is where MAGA comes to talk. Here's the president at the Easter egg roll yesterday at the White House. I don't know why they didn't do this on Easter. Don't they normally do it on Easter?
Anybody in the egg industry vote for Pamela? A low IQ person. She's a low IQ person. Who's a lower IQ person, Biden or Kamala? Biden. Use the auto pen.
He's talking to the kids. He's signing the kids' autographs, and he's saying Biden would use the auto pen.
So they follow with a big machine, you know what it's called? An automat. I can sign up.
He just told the kids, I can sign autographs. You could sell them on eBay for $25,000. That's hilarious. That was one of the best. That was one of the best. Yes, sold out. Most people are saying that Tucker has sold out. I'm gonna lean on the side of sold out too. I'm gonna say sold out. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. This is Jesse Waters last night had a retired Army intel officer talking about the war with Iran.
All right, Chuck. I think this is the biggest moment of the war.
The rescue, right?
Well, certainly so far it is. And certainly when combined with the Artemis 2 mission to the far side of the moon, what a time to be alive. What a time to be an American. And Jesse, I am amazed every day when I see the Democrats, perhaps with the exception of Senator John Fetterman, just attacking the president on all these ridiculous.
Well, first off, don't trust Fetterman. He always votes with the Democrats, okay? He says all the right things on television, but when the votes come down, he's always voting with the Democrats like over 90% of the time. Don't be fooled by Fetterman, guys.
Grounds, oh, war crimes this, and we shouldn't do that. I think that they're going to suffer mightily at the midterms because, Jesse, if you look at it, we see, for example, rail traffic up significantly, freight traffic on our trucks up significantly. So we know that the economy is getting ready to roar back. Another network published a poll today that showed the Republicans are now up 5 on the generic congressional polls.
That's right.
And now we have this war that I think is about ready to enter the history books is the most successful U.S. war in our history. You go back to Desert Storm, Desert Shield, the midterm election was 20 months after that war was won. President George H.W. Bush had something like a 95% approval rating, and then
91.
we got smoked in the midterms. Today, we're only, 7 months out? I think that the Democrats may be digging themselves a pretty big hole.
They are digging themselves a very big hole, but that's the Democrats, right? Yeah. Yeah, this is, here is Congressman Burchett with Will Cain talking about the deportation of Soleimani's family over the weekend, courtesy of Marco Rubio and Laura Loomer.
In Iran. I'll tell you one thing it did produce, Congressman, recently is the visas have been pulled away from
Great news.
Qasem Soleimani's niece and grandniece here in the United States, living in Los Angeles. These two women living a very interesting lifestyle. I think we have some images that we can show. Very active, by the way, on social media, Instagram, Facebook. Glamorous. Very, very fabulous lifestyle that they were living, posing with helicopters and airplanes and luxury brands. And all the while, by the way, posting about the great state in the United States of America in support for Iran. Yep. No longer. They have now been put into the process of deportation.
Well, they're dressed like a bunch of hookers, and they wouldn't be able to do that in their own country, that's for sure. And you have to ask.
Oh, my goodness. I like this guy, Burchett. He's like Kennedy. He says they're dressed like hookers.
American support for
I love it.
Iran. No longer. They have now been put into the process of deportation.
Well, they're dressed like a bunch of hookers, and they wouldn't be able to do that in their own dadgum country, that's for sure. And you have to ask yourself, what the heck was the Biden and Obama administration doing? Obama sending them pallets of cash. Biden's letting everybody in over our border. We've been told maybe we could have 500 members of the Taliban that have gotten into our country at some time during the last 4 years under the Biden administration. We ought to start. We need a cleaning, and this needs to start right now. This is a perfect example of what we need to be doing, because I guarantee you the money they're spending is probably somehow is shipped over there to an NGO in one of those countries from American taxpayers.
That's right.
The United Nations, and they come back over here and they trash this great country, and they all need to go back. Let her dress like that in Iran and see how far she'll get hung off of a building is what they'll do.
There's so many fascinating angles to this particular story.
Wow.
One you talked about on this program a lot about denaturalizing people that have visas or naturalized citizenship.
That's right.
Who are
Yeah, this idea that because somebody's here on a visa, they're a guest in our country, they can trash this country and encourage sedition and rebellion. is insane.
Against this country, enemies of this country, why do they remain in the country? And then I don't think it should go without repeating what you just said. They can't live like that in Iran. They can't dress like that. They can't spend like that. And yet they do so while cursing America. I mean, this story is layered in so many different ways. More layers than they're wearing.
Yeah, tip of the iceberg. There's a lot more on it. And I think this lady, if you want to call her that, was related to Soleimani, one of the most evil SOBs out there that killed probably hundreds of Americans, was really the father of the roadside bomb. I don't know if you've ever seen the pictures of how they ended up identifying Soleimani, though. He thumbed his nose at Trump, and they ended up identifying by his ring finger because that's all that was left of him. He had this awful ring on his finger that was pretty identifiable, and that's how they ended up identifying. Trump didn't take him out in the middle of an airport in some public area. He took him out in a transport, a line of armored vehicles, and he took him out, and that was about it. And everybody else lived to tell the story, and that's the kind of leader we have.
Yeah, that's right. He wanted people to be able to tell the story. Now, you know, one of the things that they have been talking about, by the way, welcome. My name's Brian. This is where MAGA comes to talk. They've got this talking point of crap they just made up. I got calls about this on the morning show yesterday, and I heard President Trump asked about it today or yesterday at the White House press briefing. And they've got in their mind that bombing power plants and bridges is a war crime. That's how you wage war, right? You when there's a war going on, you want to stop the enemy's ability to make war. And bridges and power plants and factories and such is what you target. This is Jesse Waters last night on Fox talking about this.
They're back. The seditious 6 is now 7. They've got a new member, Senator Jeff Merkley. He didn't like Trump's Easter message to Iran, so he's telling our men in uniform to go AWOL. Quote, to our military leaders, remember this. You are legally required to refuse orders to commit war crimes. So what's a war crime?
The seditious 7 now.
Alyssa Slotkin, one of the original 6, says it's as simple as turning off the enemy's lights. The Times agrees.
Are you concerned that your threat to bomb power plants and bridges amount to
No. I hope I don't have to do it. Mentally, these are disturbed people. If you think I'm going to allow them, and powerful and rich, to have a nuclear weapon, you can tell your friends at the New York Times, not going to happen.
If knocking out power is a war crime, Bill Clinton should be in The Hague. Slick Willie obliterated Serbia's power grid back in '99. Both the Bushes did it in Iraq. Lyndon Johnson hit a few power plants in North Vietnam. It was called Operation Rolling Thunder. These targets are selected as humanely as possible, considering dual-use systems and the law of proportionality. But the goal of war is to win. We aren't hitting their water, hospitals, or hotels. That's what Iran is doing to our allies. Remember, these aren't civilian power plants. The Guard runs them and gets dibs on the power. So hitting that type of target hurts the military and their ability to fight back. The ceasefire terms are simple. They have to open up the strait and knock off their nukes.
That's it. Not much to ask for. Not much to ask for. Yeah, so if you're just joining, let me get back to Tucker, because the question is, has Tucker Carlson sold out or lost his mind? And I think he's sold out. And here's Tucker. And he's talking, just for some content. Welcome, everyone. If you're new, make sure you subscribe. This is where MAGA comes to talk. On the next stream, I'll be live in the studio taking your calls. So this is Tucker. He's talking about President Trump's post on True Social on Easter to Iran.
Who do you think you are? You're tweeting out the F word on Easter morning? You'll be living in hell. Just watch. Praise be to Allah. So obviously you're mocking the religion of Iran. Okay. If you seek a religious war, that's a good idea.
Wow.
But by the way, no decent person mocks other people's religions. You may have a problem with the theology. Presumably you do if it's not your religion, and you can explain what that is. But to mock other people's faith is to mock the idea of faith itself. And we should never mock that, because at its core is the acknowledgement that we are not in charge of the universe. We did not build it. We won't be here at the end of it. We can destroy life. We cannot create it because we are not God. The message of all faith at the biggest picture level is the message in our Bible, which is you are not God. And only if you think you are do you talk this way. But it's not just mockery of Islam. And no president should mock Islam. That's not your job. This is not a theocracy. We don't go to war with other theocracies to find out which theocracy is more effective. We are not a theocracy. And God willing, we never will be, because theocracies corrupt the religion. No, this is a mockery not just of Islam, it's a mockery of Christianity.
Unreal.
To send out a tweet with the F word on Easter morning promising the murder of civilians and then saying praise be to Allah without explaining any of it, you are mocking me and every other Christian because we're Christians. We can't support that. That is evil. That is an intentional desecration of beauty and truth, which is the definition of evil.
Beauty and truth. Is he saying Islam is beauty and truth? It sounds like he's saying Islam's beauty and truth there, doesn't it? What's he saying? Do you know exactly what is he saying there? It sounds like he's saying Islam is beauty and truth. Yeah. So this is one I can't play on the radio this morning, but I can play to you. This is MS Now, and they're talking about President Trump and his post on Easter.
Here is the President of the United States in his own words. Quote, Tuesday will be Power Plant Day and Bridge Day all wrapped up in one in Iran. There will be nothing like it. Open the fucking strait, you crazy bastards, or you'll be living in hell. Just watch. Praise be to Allah, President Donald J. Trump. So imagine on Easter morning, you wake up and the President of the United States is using that kind of language, profanity, mocking the faith, threatening the country, possibly violating international law.
Threatening the country. He's talking about Iran, by the way. He's attacking President Trump for threatening Iran during a war.
But using even this phrase, praise be to Allah, in a...
Hear how he says Allah? Is this guy, what is this guy's name? Is he Muslim?
Mocking way. It's an expression used by Muslims that is an expression of faith. It carries a lot of sincerity, and the president is using it in this like very mocking and threatening way in a tweet that is full of threatening violence.
Well, imagine also if a Democrat had used that phrase, there would be cries of creeping Sharia, and
President Obama had used that phrase.
Exactly,
Yeah,
exactly. I know.
They don't get that when he said praise be to Allah was sarcasm.
Not supposed to get upset about the lack of decorum and the trashiness and just the utter classlessness of Donald Trump. But then he does something like this on Easter morning, and it really just throws me in a loop again. And I really am like, I cannot believe that this characterless man is the president of the United States.
Believe it.
Behaving this way and representing his people, a majority Christian nation, on Easter Sunday.
Don't you love how I was talking about this yesterday. All of a sudden, the American left and the media are the defenders of Christianity and Easter. They've been wiping Christianity out of the public square since the 50s and 60s, and now all of a sudden they're the defenders of the Christian faith.
He is this unholy and unhinged and being the antithesis of Jesus Christ and his teachings and what Easter is supposed to be all about. It is just infuriating. Well, he seems to love talking in, sadistic war criminal ways and bomb back to the Stone Age and have...
See, that's their new talking point, right? That he's a war criminal. The Iranians who backed October 7th and all these other terrorist activities over the past 47 years, they're not terrorists. President Trump's the criminal.
capacity to have empathy for anyone other than himself. You know, obviously that's been a decades lifelong pattern, but, you know, we just see it in sharp relief this morning. And he, you know, it's like a child, which I don't want to insult a child this way by saying that, but it's bored and is acting up because the missing airman was rescued after a heroic 36-hour mission, being injured and climbing up 7,000 feet to safety with only a pistol, and the nation could be celebrating that victory, that the goodness that he's coming home, that our military was able to execute that mission, and instead we've got this jerk just being Donald Trump.
Oh my goodness! Now there was a noise that came out from this woman. Let me play this again.
One in Iran. There will be nothing like it. Open the fucking straight, you crazy bastards, or you'll be living in hell. Just watch. Praise be to Allah, President Donald J. Trump. So imagine on Easter morning, you wake up and the President of the United States is using that kind of language.
Oh my God. If the language is so bad, why is he using it on television? If the language is so inappropriate, how is it okay for television, even MS Now on cable, right? The language is so bad, it makes him all these terrible things, but he's using the language. Little conflict there, right? Exactly. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, he's got some problems. Here's the president, you know, for that girl that was taking issue with President Trump's strong stance against Iran. This is the president talking about women's rights and Iran.
Women's rights. You want to see women's rights? You're not going to see it there. It's amazing when I see some of the stupid people like, you know, AOC +3, all that group. They talk about, oh, freedom for Iran. They don't tell you the real facts. Women, men, gays. How about gays for Iran? They kill the gays. They throw them off buildings. So I wonder what's going on. I can only say this. They want us to keep bombing.
Yeah. Australia, welcome. Paul in Australia, welcome to the program. Make sure you subscribe if you're new. This is where MAGA comes to talk. On the next stream, I'll be live in the studio taking live calls. Things are going well. We're winning the war, right? Oh, here's Steve Hilton. He's running for governor of California. He's doing very well. He's way ahead in the polls. And here he is talking about the illegals of California. Listen to this.
Would you cut Medi-Cal for undocumented people?
Yes, we shouldn't be. Look.
So Medi-Cal, which is their state Medicaid system, as if this is some type of radical position Steve Hilton has, giving illegals that are in the country illegally free health care.
Would you cut Medi-Cal for undocumented people?
Yes, we shouldn't be. Look, it's outrageous that you've got Californians who can barely afford to pay health care. The bills just keep going up and up. And then those exact people are taxpayers. And you're going to take their tax money and hand it over in free health care with coverage that's often higher and better than California taxpayers.
Some would say these people are paying taxes, especially if they're working in this state.
Well, some.
Give me a break.
Some of them are, but they're here illegally. Now, remember, I say this as a legal immigrant. And I hear most often the people who...
You know, yeah, he's a legal immigrant, Steve Hilton, with an English accent, and they're trying to paint him as anti-immigrant. It cracks me up. I got to get into that later on the show. Oh my goodness, it just blows my mind. Yeah, they don't even hear themselves. How can a legal immigrant with a foreign accent, they're calling him anti-immigrant? It doesn't even make sense. Here's CNN, very upset. We're winning the war.
Irony in all of this is that Iran has shown its capabilities in two ways, where the United States is unfortunately catching up. One is using cheap drones, which is they've been providing those to Russia to use in Ukraine, so they have lots of experiments with that. And the second is the meme war and internet propaganda, which is something actually the Iranians have been known for and influencing. And so they had, for all of our talk on our side of all the people killed in the regime, they have been pushing out through multiple channels around the world images of the American army generals and military people who have also lost their jobs at this time. So the way this looks out in the public is not a United States that is locked and loaded and working in one direction.
Do you think that the Iranians would rather have their entire Navy back or their memes?
Oh, I think when we're talking,
we have destroyed 13,000 military.
And this is a big distinction is that we're fighting the war on their land, so they have a say. If they survive, that's a win for them.
I tell you, what have they done? What have they done to people in this country? They've lost their minds. They've just lost their freaking minds. Yep, that's it. Here's the president talking to the astronauts on Artemis 2 at the moon.
When we can, I look forward to seeing you in the Oval Office. I'll ask Jared to bring you over, and I'll ask for your autograph, because I don't really ask for autographs much, but you deserve that. You really are something. Everybody's talking about this. And I look forward to having you in the Oval Office at the White House, and we will celebrate your incredible achievements and triumphs. This is big. This is really big stuff. The whole world is talking about it. And if you have the time, I will certainly find the time. I've been pretty busy also, as you know, but I will absolutely find the time, and we'll get together. And I'm going to be giving you a big salute on behalf of the American people and beyond that.
Absolutely. That's the president talking to the astronauts at the moon. Oh, man. Even the Canadian is invited. Oh, man. Yeah, Tucker. I'll play the Tucker again. This is Tucker. This is Tucker responding to President Trump's post on Easter. And remember, at the very beginning, he's talking to the president in this clip. This is from Tucker's show yesterday.
Who do you think you are?
Can you imagine talking to President Trump that way? Who do you think you are? Who does he think he is, talking to the president of the United States like that?
Who do you think you are? You're tweeting out the F word on Easter morning? You'll be living in hell. Just watch. Praise be to Allah. So obviously you're mocking the religion of Iran.
Baghdad Bob here, right? He's the press spokesperson for the Ayatollah.
Okay. If you seek a religious war, that's a good idea. But by the way, no decent person mocks other people's religions. You may have a problem with the theology. Presumably you do if it's not your religion, and you can explain what that is. But to mock other people's faith is to mock the idea of faith itself. Mock that. Because at its core is the acknowledgement that we are not in charge of the universe. We did not build it. We won't be here at the end of it. We can destroy life. We cannot create it because we are not God. The message of all faith at the biggest picture level is the message in our Bible, which is you are not God. And only if you think you are do you talk this way. But it's not just mockery of Islam. And no president should mock Islam. That's not your job.
Wow.
This is not a theocracy. We don't go to war with other theocracies to find out which theocracy is more effective. We are not a theocracy. And God willing, we never will be, because theocracies corrupt the religion. No, this is a mockery not just of Islam, it's a mockery of Christianity. To send out a tweet with the F word on Easter morning promising the murder of civilians and then saying praise be to Allah without explaining any of it, you are mocking me and every other Christian because we're Christians. We can't support that. That is evil. That is an intentional desecration of beauty and truth, which is the definition of evil.
Oh my goodness. Come on. Come on. Yeah, he's a total sellout. Total sellout. There's no going back from that. You know, every time you think he's gone over the line, he does something else, right? You just can never, you know, he never stops pushing and going over the line. Every time he crosses the line, he finds a new line to cross. Now, this is Kevin Jennings talking with Jamal Simmons. Jamal Simmons, he was the communications director for Kamala Harris.
We know that the regime is basically still in charge. We know that Iran is...
See, he's saying that the Iranian regime is still in charge. Really?
We know that the regime is basically still in charge. We know that Iran is basically in charge of the chokehold in the Straits of Hormuz. It just doesn't seem like we're making any progress.
Oh, my goodness.
Other than destroying a bunch of targets that still have kept the regime in...
What regime? The people that were in charge are dead. There's now new people, and there's been credible reporting that they're having trouble even communicating with each other. They're very
Just
scrambled.
different leaders. It's the same regime.
The president is the same.
Well, you don't know. I mean, the person they say is in charge has never been seen in public. You've seen a cardboard cutout, but that's all we know.
That's
right. So, that doesn't sound great to me if I were in there.
It might not sound great, but the IRGC and the way they're structured is so entrenched in the Iranian society that there's not regime change hasn't happened. A leadership change has happened.
They're in such great shape that we had pilots on the ground in Iran for 2 days, and we sent hundreds of special forces in and rescued them. And the IRGC and nobody in the civilian population could seem to find or help
Scott, I think
capture our guys. They're not in great.
But Scott, you can't.
Exactly.
We know that the regime is...
Exactly. They're out of their minds over there. Yeah. Welcome, everyone. If you're new, make sure you subscribe to the channel. The next stream, I'll be in the studio taking your calls. Hold on, my cat needs me. Hold on. Well, my daughter's cat. What? What's up, Sawa? Yeah? Okay. There you go. I tell you, the left are really losing it, aren't they? I mean, this is one of the lowest points that the left have, I think, ever experienced. I mean, this is losing from their viewpoint on a level that they just have not been in a long time. Right? We're winning, they're losing. America's winning. If America's winning, the left are losing. And they just can't handle it. I mean, they've just completely lost... They've completely lost their minds. And of course, the Democrats are in big, big trouble. This is a new poll from CNN.
Let's just take a look at this. Net favorability. Party ahead at this point. Midterm years with the GOP president. In 2018, Dems were up by 12. In 2006, on net favorability, which party you like more? Dems were ahead by 18. Republicans are actually ahead on net favorability at this point by 5 points. So Democrats are just simply put running behind their previous benchmarks, and they need to be running well ahead of them if they want to take back the United States Senate. Let's just take a look at this. Net favorability. Party ahead at this point. Midterm years with the GOP president.
Yeah. So the Democrats are, their approval ratings are in the toilet among their own people. Even Democrats don't like Democrats. I've got so much we're going to cover today, so make sure you subscribe. The next stream, I'll be in the studio. We'll be taking calls. And this is Stephen Miller's wife. She's very, very good. Listen to her.
Look at the nephew of Khomeini. You look at the
Oh, hold on.
of Rouhani, and you say, why are there so many elites from the Iranian regime being given safety, not only here in America, but in European countries for so long?
That's right.
I know that President Trump and Secretary Rubio are working so diligently to revoke the visas of nearly 3,000 to 4,000 Iranian elites who currently live in this country. The double standard, not only in their wardrobe, but in the fact that they get to live here in the greatest country in the world with safety and prosperity. Man, you couldn't make it up, Sean, if you tried.
Yeah, exactly. And they're deporting them. They're deporting them about they're deporting about 4,000 Iranians right now. They're taking their visas away. And that's a good thing. Yeah, 4,000. Yeah, I know. The media don't want to cover that too much because these are some bad, bad people. If they're so bad, even the media can't oppose it, right? They don't like it, but they know that if they try to oppose it, they'll look like what they are, lowlives. But I'll be taking calls on Tucker on the next stream, and that's what I'm going to open with today on the morning show. Got so much to, I'm still going through, doing some show prep while we're talking here. Let's see. Oh yeah, this is a good one. So we blew a couple of aircraft up on the ground in Iran because they didn't want to leave the aircraft or the technology behind. And the left are having a freak out. This is Harris Faulkner on Fox yesterday with a guest talking about that.
You mean Democratic lawmakers, and they're questioning everything up until this point. But really, are they going inside the mission to look at what it takes to win, or do they just want him to lose? That's what I hear you asking.
Exactly.
It's a fair
Exactly.
question.
Amen. Well, not only that, Harris, we did lose 2 C-130s during this rescue operation. Apparently, the landing gear got stuck. But no other military in the world, Harris, can fight their way into your country, set up our own mobile temporary airfield, and then fight our way out. And if those airplanes get stuck, we're going to fly in some other ones to rescue those people. I didn't hear any of those people complaining about expenses when Joe Biden left close to $100 billion in military hardware to the Taliban, to our enemy.
Yeah.
So save me your crocodile tears about losing a couple of C-130s. A human life in our country, Harris, is priceless.
Indeed. And talk to me about that, because from what I'm reading, we blew up those assets because they hold a whole lot of information and technology, and they put all of that into the hands, not just to mention whatever would last that they could use. They blew that up, something that we didn't do. We put all that might into the hands of the Taliban.
I still can't get over it, Harris. It's an absolute disgrace how we left. But everybody performed as needed. Hey, we can't let these secret squirrel airplanes fall into the hands of the enemy. We're going to blow them up.
Yeah.
Harris, that's just...
Exactly. Great points are made there. No question about it. No question about it. Well, that's how the left are. I mean, they're just anti-American. They're rooting for the enemy, and they're depressed because we're winning this war, and that's what has them freaked out more than anything. We've defeated Iran. They have not had, since the early days of the war, they got off a few lucky shots, right, with this airplane on Friday. Well, this isn't an endless war, John, right? This war's on the verge of being over. They got off some rockets in the beginning. They launched a lot of rockets, but they're hardly launching rockets anymore because they don't have many rockets. They don't have rocket launchers, and they're being devastated. They're just being devastated. They're barely hanging in there. Well, tonight's going to be the beginning of something, right? They've already started. There was some major explosions at the airport in Tehran. So it's whatever the president's talking about doing, it's already begun to a certain extent, because there was some major explosions at the airport. They're making such a big deal about these planes. Trump, they blew up a couple of planes because they got stuck in the sand, right? Biden gives the Taliban an entire air force with our most advanced Apache helicopters with new computer systems in them and everything, on top of all the weapons and ammo that he left behind. That's okay. But 2 blown up planes that are completely obliterated in the desert, probably turned the glass in the sand, that has them upset. It makes no sense. Tucker Carlson, that is correct. Tucker Carlson. If you're new to my channel, make sure that you subscribe. This is where MAGA comes to talk. Yeah, I'm still just doing some show prep while we're talking here. And just in case I missed anything. Let's see. Yeah, they're continually calling President Trump a war criminal. It's just not going to fly. No one buys that, right? I mean, give me a break. No one buys that. Let me know in the chat how long you've been watching me here on YouTube, just out of curiosity. A minute, an hour, a day, 5 years? How long have you guys been watching me on YouTube? Yeah, here's Tucker. This is going to be my lead story today, Tucker. This is Tucker. He's responding to Trump's tweet on Easter where he said, "Praise be to Allah." Obviously, sarcasm.
Who do you think you are?
I mean, that the anger in his voice. You got to wonder, did Tucker write this? 5 years, 2 years, 6 months? Welcome, everyone. Thanks so much. A year? A week? Welcome, Seal Punk. A week? 3 years? They don't get sarcasm. 5+ years. Awesome, Joe. Awesome, awesome, awesome.
Who do you think you are? You're tweeting out the F word on Easter morning? You'll be living in hell. Just watch. Praise be to Allah. So obviously you're mocking the religion of Iran.
Yeah. So what? Who cares? We're supposed to have respect for Iran's religion, everything they've done.
Okay. If you seek a religious war, that's a good idea.
11 years, wow.
But by the way, no decent person mocks other people's religions. You may have a problem with the theology. Presumably you do if it's not your religion, and you can explain what that is. But to mock other people's faith is to mock the idea of faith itself. And we should never mock that, because at its core is the acknowledgement that we are not in charge of the universe. We did not build it. We won't be here at the end of it. We can destroy life. We cannot create it because we are not God. The message of all faith at the biggest picture level is the message in our Bible, which is you are not God. And only if you think you are do you talk this way. But it's not just mockery of Islam. And no president should mock Islam. That's not your job. This is not a theocracy. We don't go to war with other theocracies to find out which theocracy is more effective. We are not a theocracy. And God willing, we never will be, because theocracies corrupt the religion. No, this is a mockery not just of Islam. It's a mockery of Christianity. To send out a tweet with the F word on Easter morning promising the murder of civilians and then saying praise be to Allah without explaining any of it, you are mocking me and every other Christian because we're Christians. We can't support that. That is evil. That is an intentional.
So, you know, I think most of us agree. Wow, long to 4 years. Awesome, awesome, awesome. I think most of us agree that Tucker Carlson is just a sellout. I mean, there's no getting around it. I mean, that's what that is. I mean, he's just a sellout. Right? I mean, he's out there talking like James Carville. You know? Well, he lost his big job at Fox. He's got he's obviously sold out to someone. I mean, who wrote that? He's pretty much the press spokesperson for the Islamic Republic of Iran, isn't he? Here's James Carville on MS Now yesterday.
I mentioned in the setup that there's also on the right. I'm going to show you Alex Jones, not because he's a source for anything true. Okay, I want to set up the clip, but only because he has been in this right-wing swamp. And when you're losing some of these folks and you're getting the skeptical questions they've gotten from Tucker and Megyn, and even occasionally on Fox News, you sort of say, who's left to defend this foreign policy? Here's Alex Jones.
That closes trades, kill the economy. America's sinking global rankings of likability. It's just not what we voted for. We've never seen rhetoric out of presidents.
Unreal.
When we go to war, even before this war. This is really bad PR, folks. That's what I'm talking about. The way Trump's behaving. Way more erratic. His speech, is not coherent all the time. You can't deny this is happening. This is a clown show, folks, and I'm really worried.
James?
Well, I mean, you can watch it, but you don't have to be a neurologist, a Dr. Jonathan Ryan, or anything like that. We've all had experience with people aging. We've all had this experience. And you could just look at the guy.
Cat fight outside.
An average person and say, this man is deteriorating at a really rapid rate. I don't know. I mean,
is Carville talking about Alex Jones or Trump here?
But it's evident. I mean, Alex Jones sees it. You can see it all over the right. You got Megyn Kelly and Tucker fighting with Mark Levin. I can't even keep track of all of them. They hate each other more than they hate us. They're just in some dissent, just finger pointing, and that's just what happens when parties go down. I mean, the kind of end of the Republican Party as we knew it, and they're all fighting with each other, and that's fine with me. I'm happy to watch.
Yeah, so Alex Jones is no better than he's no better than Tucker, is he? Now, hold on, let me get the cat. Hey, Sagwa, what's up? Hold on. Cat one's fed. Here you go. That's Sagwa. Don't knock over the camera, Sagwa. There you go. That's my daughter's cat, Sagwa. She will only eat fresh food. So. And she's a night owl because my daughter's a night owl. So she's a night owl. She sleeps all day and then she's up all night. Welcome, everyone. If you're new to my channel, make sure you subscribe. On my next stream, I'll be in the studio taking your calls. I mean, you know, Alex Jones is just as bad. Oh, cats do rule. That's right. I've got 4 of them. Plus that's Sagwa, my daughter's cat, Sagwa. Yeah. We have 4 cats, and now 5 with my daughter's cat. My daughter's in California visiting friends. She'll be back. And her cat misses her. She walks around looking for her. Right, Sagwa? This cat's really old. She's about, I don't know, 15. All our cats are rescues, all of them, including my daughter's cat here. All rescues. Right, Sagwa? Absolutely. But Sagwa doesn't like other cats. She only likes people. Luckily, our other cats like other cats a lot. All of them are, yeah, she's a great cat, Sagwa. But she goes around the house looking for she grew up in this house because, you know, my daughter got her when she was a kid living here. And she moved out to California with her, and now she's back in Florida. But my daughter's out visiting her friends in California, so she stays with us when she's out of town. She's too old to leave home alone. 5 cats, 2 dogs. I don't think I'll get a dog again. Cats pretty much take care of themselves, don't they? I mean, compared to dogs. Having a dog is like having a 2-year-old child, and I just don't have the time to walk a dog a few times a day and everything. I would like to, but I just don't have the time, so. Carlson and Massey. Yeah, Carlson and Alex Jones. You know, with Tucker, obviously, is a sellout. With Alex Jones, I don't know what it is with Alex Jones. He said the other day he was never MAGA. I think Alex Jones is always chasing the views and the clicks. You know, what do you guys think? He's always chasing the views and the clicks. In my view, that's kind of how I view Alex Jones, right? You know, and it's kind of like Megyn Kelly. They're all, you know, they're all about views and clicks, and whatever the trend is where they go, right? And that's just not how I roll, you know? That's not how I roll. I stick to my convictions. That's right. And these people have 0 convictions. Make sure you guys subscribe if you are new to the channel. This is where MAGA comes to talk. Go to bed. I've been up. I've been up actually for about 3 hours. But I'm up in the morning for work. I don't watch Benny Johnson enough to have an opinion of him, really. I mean, I see him from time to time if something happens, but I will say I've seen him a couple times recently when there's breaking news, and he'll go live with breaking news. And when he's live with breaking news and it's unscripted, he's vacuous a little bit. Like, he doesn't have much to say. I don't know. Do you guys pick that up? When he does his main thing, which I think is kind of scripted, maybe fully scripted, I don't know. He's more together. But whenever, like, there's breaking news, so he goes live and he talks about it, he doesn't have much to say other than the basic facts, and little vacuous there. I don't use any scripts. I just talk off the top of my head. You know, I go through the stories and the sound bites and give you my thoughts and commentary and opinions, but I don't script anything. No notes, nothing. The only notes I have is when I'm doing commercials, I have to have the phone number, so I get the phone number straight when I'm doing a commercial. But other than that, no notes, nothing. But I got nothing against Benny Johnson, don't get me wrong, but I just find when I see him go live during breaking news, he almost doesn't know what to say, right? I don't know. Have you guys picked up on that? Yeah, or not? I don't know. I don't know. I don't really have an opinion on him either way. I always go through the news right up until I go on the air, just in case something breaks that I missed. But it doesn't look like today's that kind of day. I think I got everything. Welcome, everyone. I'm really glad that Steve Hilton got the president's endorsement, and he's looking good. He's looking good. He really does. It's morning. It's coming up on 5 a.m. in 20 minutes. I'm just waiting for Starbucks to open, get my Starbucks, and then I'll go to the studio and be live on the radio and here on YouTube. Here's Bill O'Reilly on News Nation with Leland talking about President Trump's comments of bombing Iran back to the Stone Age.
The more we can separate the regime being punished from the people, the better the chance there is for an uprising. Why isn't President Trump?
Oh, hold on, I hit the wrong button there. I hit the mute by accident. Let me start it over.
The more we can separate the regime being punished from the people, the better the chance there is for an uprising. Why isn't President Trump doing that?
Because he doesn't know what the cause and effect is going to be. So if you bomb the country back to the Stone Age, then the country may say, we got to do something with these mullahs. It's very, very possible. I mean, General Grant waged this kind of warfare in a civil war. We dropped the bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki and firebombed Dresden. None of those people, none of them, all right, rose up against the United States. They all capitulated.
Right.
Now,
none of them were fundamentalist Muslim regimes. But, look, your point's made. I hear you.
And I'm not saying, but it's not fair to second guess how to wage the war when you've tried just about everything.
Yeah, I would say Bill O'Reilly's right. Yes, cat. I'm sure there's a cat in the background. Hey, Sagwa. Yep, that's Sagwa. That's my daughter's cat, Sagwa. Hey, Sagwa. Yes. The other cats are inside. She's on the back. They don't get along too well, so we got to keep them separated a little bit, at least at night, because I don't want to wake my wife up. When my wife's awake, we can have them all in the house together, but this is interesting. This was on Fox Business yesterday. LA County has lost over 53,000 residents in a year. My daughter's one of them.
The exodus continues. We've got shocking new figures showing Los Angeles losing tens of thousands of residents, one of the biggest population drops in the nation. Experts pointing to soaring costs, shrinking opportunity, and policy failures driving people out.
Now, my daughter left because it's just too expensive. I mean, 54,000 have left in the last year out of LA. I think the reason are deportations. I think a lot of people like my daughter have left because it's just too ridiculously expensive. But I think mostly the exodus from LA or the deportations, the one the president has done, the self-deportations, and also people fleeing ICE. What do you think? Why do you think there's been so many people, 54,000 more than any other city, of an exodus from Los Angeles? Now, if you're new to my channel, make sure that you subscribe, okay? I'll be live in less than an hour on the next stream in the studio taking your calls, all right? I'll see you then. Thanks for watching. My name is Brian. This is where MAGA comes to talk and hangs out with